it seemed like his thoughts were more about trying to defend himself against his own teammate.
Roglic was just on the radio there, Luke. I know you're going to be off in a minute to get in the breakaway, get up the road, and be ready for the grand.
At the base of the climb, he'll have next to nothing. It is clear, and UAE have showed intent since kilometre 1 that they want to win the stage. And you see the valley now. If Roglic rides the valley full gas, he'll arrive at the bottom of the climb, and he'll be pretty much cooked. So come back, save what you can, and give everything you can to the pitch whilst still hanging on the best you can for yourself.
And if he doesn't sit up, is it that he hasn't learned the lessons of yesterday? I mean, not from him himself, but how it happened for Lipovic. The rest of those are in the valley there.
Yeah, well, we see Lipovic. I'd say he spent, perhaps, of all the GC riders, he was the one who spent the most time on his own. Chased all the way down, he got in that group, he attacked pretty much straight away. And what was the end result? The same thing could happen to Roglic today, but it's not necessarily about Roglic today. It's about Lipovic. He's the guy who's going to be, he's on the podium at the moment, only by 22 seconds. Today is all about as many numbers as you can around that podium.
Cheers, Luke. We'll let you get off into the breakaway. Orla will be there, Whitey as well. Robbie staying with Sean and I for a while. Sean's about to come back as well. 27 seconds for Primož Roglic. It's going down. We haven't seen him since he was on the radio, Sean. Robbie and Luke saying maybe it might be a good time to sit up. What do you think?
Unfortunately for Primož here, his country companion is the man who was keen to check here, and not nice. I thought they wouldn't knock it off on the centre bit. When they get on the flat section, just make that pace to stop riders from attacking out this group. And little Roglic should go out and see can he go on and get a stage victory. Surely to God, his countryman would be all likely to get a stage win. But they ain't giving it. So we can see the way well it's riding there. They're not giving me anything at all. British Valley Road now is not going to happen for him. Unfortunately, the men he had with him as well, Harry Pant and Martinez, they just said like my postman. He's better under the fence. It was so bad because Roglic was getting down very safely and they could not follow. Unfortunately, that is the problem as well. If we had the three riders up here in the lead, but we are always going to control here. We can see the way it's just counting along. And just listening in there with Lipovic, I don't think Roglic should be made to look after Lipovic. If I was in a team and the same situation for the riders, Vlasov is there with Lipovic. Lipovic has just to follow only in this final today. And what can a teammate like Roglic do for him in the final? Not a lot in the final time. I know if you get distance a bit, you can ride with him a bit, but the advantage is not going to be great. So I think they should just leave it run. As they're doing within Red Bull, that would be my tactic if I was in the team now.
No, I think it's been really worthwhile Roglic having a go, because had it panned out differently than what it has been, then he could have been riding himself onto the podium at the Tour de France, and you've got to give him that opportunity. It's not looking like that now. I agree with Luke at this point. Sit up, conserve, spend a few kilometres in the bunch, and look at maintaining what he has on GC, which is a 5th place overall. He won't feel particularly under threat from behind. Felix Gall is 2 minutes 47 behind him on GC. Vorkeland, the next one back, is dropped. He's in a group chasing further behind. You see it at 1:48. So I guess Roglic is thinking, I've got absolutely nothing to lose. He doesn't feel threatened by Gall, so he's just going to push on.
And Primož Roglic isn't really sitting up. He's continuing on, but he is on his way to being called. There's no question about it. He's coming down to run and sliding away. Product of his own misfortune, Sean was suggesting that the two guys he was with could not descend particularly well. In a group of 3 here makes it at least a bit more of a fair fight, doesn't it, the Valley?
Yes, it would have, but you can't afford to wait for the others when they can't keep up with the percent, because you see they've already been swallowed up, so it would have meant the group was done for already. So 25k to go, and the front of the race almost back together. Tim Wellens has his prey in his sights.
And Roglic on the radio once more. I look back at this group just to check if Tobias Harnik and Johannesson's still there.
He's
Yes.
noted in the groups.
He's got a black rain jacket on. I couldn't see an Uno-X jersey. And the reason I mentioned that is because obviously he's getting a lot of time on Kevin Vauquelin at the minute. And Adam did tell us that somebody from Uno-X was struggling. But Tobias Holland Johannesson sitting on the wheel there of the riders from Visma Lisa Bike. So good news for Tobias Holland Johannesson. Uno-X racing really well and on their way to very soon, perhaps moving up from 8 to 7.
Alan rode brilliantly. Of course, he was in for medical exams after the Ventoux stage with terrible stomach cramps and really just completely exhausted himself and just needed some care and recovery. But he's done that really well. He did have a teammate there earlier, but that Adam noted struggling. That was Leknesund, and we've seen him struggling in the descents already over the last few days. So he's been popped out the back of the group.
Just asked Raul Garcia Pierre about that yesterday.
Yes, exactly.
So Roglic looking round, looks like he's accepted his fate. There was that radio communication a moment ago. This is Wallens, Belgian champion, Narvaez, Ecuadorian national champ, and then Pogacar. Gel in the mouth, holding on to them, trying to hold on to give him the wet roads there for Jonas Vingegaard. He has Campenaerts and Simon Yates. There's Adam Yates still there as well. And looking after Oscar Onley. By the way, Onley's 200 days professional today in road racing. Just 200 days racing, and he's on the verge of possibly moving up on the podium of the Tour de France. But he has Frank van der Broek with him as well in that group.
Yeah, who has been brilliant. Actually, I awarded Frank van den Broek the domestique of the day yesterday. He was brilliant. Got himself in the early break. He had to fight so hard to get to the front of the race. But he was there when it counted, along with Warren Bogue, so special shout out to him as well. They piloted Onley back to the group. They all got a bit fortunate. There was somewhat of a standoff at the front, but they were there doing what they had to do when they had to do it, and they supported Onley really well, and he was just resurgent on the final climb. So it was a great ride all round by that team. Rogler, just 8 seconds now, and we were discussing this morning in the breakaway pre-race what the likely outcome would be today, and myself, Matt White, and Luke Rowe were pretty much all in agreement that Tadej Pogacar wants to get one more stage win out of this Tour de France.
One more?
Well, at least one more. He wants to win today, is what we were getting at. And they are riding exactly like that. This is not hanging back and giving the opportunity to someone with a workable gap if they're good enough, like they've done on other days. This is taking a stranglehold.
And not giving anything to someone who helped to win the World Championships either. Sean was suggesting that there's business to be done. Rogler, the racer, I'm here for it. He's been absolutely brilliant the last couple of days. Perhaps Florian Lipovitz might not agree, but as Sean was suggesting, he's got a very long career ahead of him. This is Wellens. It looks as though he's about to catch Roglic, however. And the race will restart as we get closer to the foot of the final.
Yes, it's going to be all into the time now. We can see Primož Roglic not getting that advantage at all, and Wellens still continue on to just ease into the advantage he have here. And this is going to be another one. Who will be able to match the man who can win on these mountaintop finishes? Doesn't look like that anybody wants to touch him again today. The man in the yellow jersey. It is going to be a stage, and this stage, of course, being cut short, it made it easier to control for UAE team members to control a shorter stage much easier. And now we're going to go into this final climb, and it's going to be the battle of the giants.
Did you see that little wave from Tim Wellens as he caught Roglic? Right hand, didn't remove it from the bars, just sort of extended the fingers, little wave, as if to say, sorry, nothing personal, just executing the plan.
Mocking into this.
Talk to the Teddy.
Yep, just doing what the boss says.
Well, I think, as I mentioned, they could have slowed it down on the descent a little bit, and then when they got on the flat, just make that force a chance to have a go for the stage win. And for the other jersey, Tadej Pogacar, he owes, as well as Rob said, World Championships, and he's his mate as such. I know they had a lot of battles in the time, but they never had this big falling out. So I was expecting maybe they might just slow it down a little bit and allow him to pull out an advantage. But it was always going to be difficult because with this final climb, you get other teams who want to push on. I think Decathlon will be one maybe with Gal. They think they can win the stage at the top of the mountain, and some of the other teams here. So if you leave it to other teams, then you're not the one that pulls Primus back here, where it's UAE who did it all here. And unfortunately, it was always going to be a very difficult for Primus to go all the way.
Well, I think they gave him that opportunity yesterday. UAE didn't ride when Primoz was up the road in yesterday's break, and it was Visma Lease Bike who did everything that eventually brought that break undone. But when UAE and Tadej have decided today's the day for a win, then they're not looking at who's their mate, where they're from, how much they need a win. They concentrate on their own job and they get it done. I'm waiting to see when they form that mountain lead out for Tadej. When we get the nod, you see that intensity go up, the lead out into the attack. That's going to come like we saw on Hautacam.
Start of the final climb in the Alps of this Tour de France. La Plagne, for the first time since 2002. It's the fifth finish down the years here. And here we go with Tim Wellens beginning to move. Behind him, Jonathan Narvaez. It's 19 kilometers long. It's 7.2% of an average. It's more consistent than the one we had earlier on today. But at this stage in the Tour, stage 19, the legs hurting, many already feeling beaten. It is time maybe for a 5-star Tadej moment and a fifth stage win from him. Can anybody take it to him? We're about to find out. Behind, we've got the fight for the podium as well. Lipovic looking to hang on. Roglic has been in the break. His chance to rise seems to be over. But what can Oscar Onley do? It's 22 seconds from the 22-year-old young Scot up to the podium. And Roglic says goodbye to the bunch. His energy expended. He laid it all out there. And to a man who's a 5-time Grand Tour winner, Sean, fifth place doesn't mean much, proving he was willing to gamble it all.
Yes, and he showed us that yesterday as well, going in the attack early and risking it. And the place in the general classification, that didn't matter to him if he finished in that place or he finished 5 places further down. And today we can see he continued on pushing along on the flat section after the descent. The gap was a tiny one. You would expect him to knock it off, get a bit of recovery time before he got to the climb. He just kept going, and that is proof the place in general classification is not of any interest to him.
Well, plenty of other riders going out the back too. Saw O'Connor go out the back, but that's understandable after yesterday's exploits. But Tim Wellens, this is winding up to his absolute maximum. Not long now until the next one takes over.
Berger, Martinez, O'Connor, as you mentioned, Vlasov goes, so Lipovic now is all alone. It's winding up, it's coming. I think Tadej Pogačar wants to finish this right here, right now. Sure, he wants the Tour one properly tonight.
Well, if he hasn't won properly already, he's going to put another stamp on it here. And stage win, of course, that's what he's looking for here. And the way they're preparing is going to be pretty much that for him. Unless his main contender, Vingegaard, can challenge him. And we've seen Vingegaard, he can, on a real good day, maybe he can put it up, but it's going to be a difficult one for him. There we can see Narvaez just starting to set the pace. We can see the way it goes. It's just blown apart very, very quickly.
Adam Scotson once more in the mountains. What a rider he's turning into. Looks around to Gal. Aurélien Barrépin was also in that as well. As goes backwards. Robbie, I'm looking at several riders also going backwards.
And one of those, and I think Narvaez was looking for a teammate, Adam Yates, also gone out there. There he is in the background. He's about 10 lengths off the back of the group.
Felix Gal is obviously confident here as well, because he's putting Scotson to work.
But he just knows now that he has Primoz Roglic off the back. He can move up a spot on GC. They just need to ride as hard as they can from this point right to the finish line to improve their GC. Here is Yates. So the wind up for Tadej Pogačar will come only from Narvaez, but this is helping having Decathlon doing their work for Gal as well. Scotson, quite incredible the way he's developed into a really solid climbing domestique.
Oscar on the in there just in front of Lipovitz. Remember, if you're looking today for Jonas Vingegaard, look to the man in the polka dot jersey. He's looking after that for Pogacar at the moment, who sits, as he often does, in there. Then really in the pictures, if we're going to try and move up if he can. Above him, Tobias Harlan Johannesson is in here as well. Gal already moved up a place yesterday to 6th from 7th. Vokla at 155 now. It's looking very good for Tobias Harlan Johannesson to move himself up. He's looking for that 7th place of Vokla. This is the virtual GC. It's Pogacar, Vingegaard, Lipovitz, Only, and Roglic. Roglic starting to lose time after being dropped here. And here comes Felix Gal being moved up. The Austrian serious Decathlon looking to be deadly with him. And look at there's a team taking it to Pogacar on the road. With Pogacar still having Wellens trying to fight his way back on.
Well, we can see Decathlon are starting to set the pace here, but you know, the distance we have to get to the finish here, 16 kilometers. Where are they going? Leave UAE, continue on to set the pace, and when they disappear, maybe they want to just set the pace and take control and not allow Pogacar to attack a long ways to the finish. But you know, I would just sit back for a while. And he's probably not explosive as well, so they're trying to just make it more difficult, probably, but making it more difficult against Pogacar is the difficult one.
I have a feeling that the pace that Decathlon are setting as a team is lower than the pace that was being set by Jonathan Narvaez. But they see the opportunity getting towed a little bit further up the climb. Narvaez slotting into the wheel of Tadej Pogacar in front of Jonas Vingegaard. Maybe being just waiting in the wings, wait till Decathlon have run themselves dry. Narvaez back to the front, wind things up, but that's when Pogacar will go on one of the small sections that gets a lot steeper. We get sections up to 10 to 11%.
There's a stage win here that Decathlon don't have yet, but also with Primož Roglic off the back here, if they're riding for time as well, remember, they're looking maybe to move Felix Gal up into 5th place, remember.
Oh, 100%. That's what this is all about.
Well, I think that was going to happen naturally. No matter who's riding in the front, they don't have to take control of the team. But, yeah, I think the director of sport is supposed to have an idea here why they're doing that. Maybe just to make a pace that you know, they feel better with, and yeah, get it further up the climb as well. But it's a one when you see the team UAE so strong. Leave them do and then just wait. And with Felix Gal, the way he's enduring in classification as well, he might be allowed that little bit more room, and Pogacar, which is highly unlikely, he will leave him attack and leave him take a bit of an advantage.
Surely not with the work they've done here. You never know. The legs have to be there. So yesterday they weren't there to do the things that everybody wanted to with the UAE investment. Let's see.
I like that Decathlon are taking it up because they'll be very wary of Primož Roglic still, even though he's gone out the back. You don't give him a chance to recover, let the pace drop, and maybe pedal his way back on. So they're trying to keep their foot on the accelerator and not give Roglic any opportunity. Take the shore bishop before the unturn. If they don't ride, then they're just waiting until there's a big explosion, and then they're going to have to still ride as hard as they can to the top anyway for Felix Gal. So set a tempo. Keep it at something you can manage and concentrate on that top 5 GC spot. Mario Panta, that's Aurelien, has done his work and is now dropping out the back.
And just dropping behind his brother. That had been in the move earlier on. It's Aurelien Barreban who's off the back. And this continues. He's still fighting, he's still there. By the way, that gap to Vokla now going up to 05 from this group. Very, very interesting that it's now another 10 to 15 seconds required for Tobias Harlan Johannesson to move up in the Tour de France from 8th to 7th. Alan Scotson. And it's Tracky. Oscar Only, let's not forget. Artists that remains in the as well. Surely it's Pogacar and Vingegaard we are looking at. Each you have one domestique alongside them. Narvaez 14th in the GC as well, let's not forget this year. He's up there on the wheel of Pogacar, who pointed out wonderfully now. And then Simon Yates, winner of the Giro d'Italia, sitting on the wheel of Jonas Vingegaard. The 191 behind is the rider we're all watching. 22 seconds. Oscar Omley, the young man from Scotland. What can he do?
It will be interesting to see, between the battle for the third place in the podium is going to be interesting one. We can see Lipovic just in the shadow of Omley here, and he's going to do that all the way up this time and try and not to give him any space at all. And this is the opportunity, as we can see, Vingegaard have a look around there to see who's on board.
Well, there's a bit of that encouragement. You're riding with Pogacar in your wheel. It's not him doing it to us. We are dishing out the pain this time.
And I think not so much trying to give information that they would 100% know, but that's a motivator for the team. Just hearing it out loud. You are riding up on the mountain with Tadej Pogacar in your wheel. It's that sort of thing that gives you a little boost.
Alan Scott's still here on the front. Oscar Omley sits there. The days in the break flash here for Omley. Still has Van den Broek at the back as well.
Narvaez at the back of the group now, so it just shows you that the pace being set by Callum Scottson. That's
aside from Visma Leasify, the only team who managed to get rid of Pogacar's domestics at any point in this Tour de France. We're going up to the Paradis-Ski. Today, snow is well away, but it's raining. It's miserable. Knows these mountains well rocky. By 134. And this is why Scottson is doing what he's doing for Gal. As Gal now moves to the front, and instead of attacking off the front, he's going to ride. Well, he's increasing pace, however, meant that Omley follows only now. Simon Yates is going to be struggling to hang on, but he's trying to work at it. That's that for Narvaez. And Tadej Pogacar is alone. Jonas Vingegaard's with him. Simon Yates here, struggling to get back on. That's Van den Broek. Here, Bafitman. And the order is Gal, Pogacar, Vingegaard, Omley, Lipovic hanging tough there for now, the white jersey. They look around for the first time. We wait for the first proper move. Healy's there. Arnsman's going to think time, maybe take advantage of this here, Sean, now.
You can see that he's just going to make a move now, and it'll be interesting who's going to follow. And this is a situation. You can see Pogacar just looking and not bothered at the moment. We've still 14 kilometers to go. If you make the first move to close the rider down, then you will have to do it many times, but he takes it up already and not leave him take any advantage at all. We can see the man is wheel, and here we go.
It's Pogacar, it's Vingegaard. There are 14 kilometers to go on the final alpine mountain of this Tour de France. And the man who's dominated it so far wants win number 5. He can't get rid of Vingegaard just yet. And Pogacar continues with that seated acceleration of this. We become accustomed to it. When he wants, he goes. And I guess as well, maybe learning the lesson from the other day. It's raining, it's miserable. Arensman's not a man to let go in these conditions.
Language. He and his team have been there all day long. This is a stage. Climb though, being at one of those alpine ski, not particularly steep slopes. There's a couple of sections that hit 10%, but no steep pieces. This will make it easier and take that, in inverted commas, easier for Jonas Vingegaard to follow the wheel. Look at the slipstream, the speeds they're able to generate on a slope like this one. But Pogacar, I'm sure he'd like to finish alone in yellow for the stage victory.
Now then, Healy on the march as well. It's been followed by Omley. That means that Lipovic must go. Johannesson's following. Gal is up the road as well. There are 1s, 2s, 3s, and in this case 4s. But for how much stronger? Everybody riding alone for their own place. It's legs versus legs, head versus head, and it's the heart to go again from Arensman. He can play on this here. These two may be looking at each other.
With the look at each other. It doesn't look like Pogacar's going to look. He just had a half look over his shoulder and just stopped standing on the pedals or just pushing the pedals, let's call it. In the saddle, we can see the way he's closing it down here. And, he's just going to continue on doing this. And it'll be interesting now if they knock it off quite a lot. We might see some of the other riders getting back in, but this looks like it's going to be the battle again by the two big men here, Pogacar and Vingegaard. But as long as Vingegaard can stay in the wheel, this will start to concept. He's going again, but you can see there, Pogacar just rolling up to his wheel.
It's interesting watching. Obviously, there's a third man in here who's not involved in the GC in the shape of Iris, but he's simply looking for another stage win, a few more mountain points to climb that KOM. But Pogacar versus Vingegaard, Robbie, in a whole 12 months, Vingegaard, save for that final stage of the Dauphiné, where almost arrogant Pogacar just didn't contest that little sprint for the there's been no difference at all in any of the mountain stage in favour of Vingegaard. It's always been Pogacar first. And mentally now, he has to try and overcome that and see if he can get a stage win at this tour.
And that's something that Jonas will be thinking about now. I think he's already resigned himself to being second in the Tour de France. He'd love to go out with a stage victory. I wonder if he's backing himself to maybe do that in a sprint where he's been successful once before against Tadej Pogacar. As you said, Pogacar just has had his stamp of authority on every single climb. Arensman goes again, hoping they're going to look at each other. And then you could say he's gone tam and tam again. Could this be the good one?
Robbie's here all week. It's at least the third or fourth tam there, Robbie.
Oh, you know, Rob, tamming is everything.
We've got 12.8 Ks in this to go. Yeah, this was the tam he went last time. But interesting, in all seriousness now, that Pogacar knows he can't afford to play the game all the time, because surely even Pogacar could get rolled by Vingegaard running after everything.
Well, it's an interesting one. We did see the way he went after Arensman when he did make the moves so easy. And a surprise to me that he sees him go there, but he's going to continue making a pace here. But this is an opportunity. This is what Arensman has to do. He has to go from long, because if you take it into the final 3 kilometres, 4 kilometres, Pogacar is not going to give you an inch. But this distance, 12.5 to go, he's playing a bit with Vingegaard here. It's interesting to see will Vingegaard try and push on a little bit more, because he's the one who really needs to stay win in this Tour de France. So it's going to be a little bit of playing here for the moment. And it goes back to Decathlon. Gal, he should have just sat back there, waited, leave somebody else do the attacking, and take this opportunity like Arensman is taking. And Gal, if he gets the advantage like Arensman, he's another rider who could go all the way. He could be going for a stage win, but they play so much for a place in the general classification that they forget all about the rest and go for a stage win.
Looking at stage wins, Simon Yates there working his way back onto this group is the only rider who's taken a stage win for Visma Lease bike. Frank van der Broek is back at the service of Oscar Onley. He's continuing to set a pace here and putting the pressure as much as he can on Florian Lipovic. In the meantime, they're seeing, well, they were seeing Arensman. They've now seen him gone out of sight. And that's a dangerous thing, given how good Arensman is at this.
Well, not for the moment. With 12 kilometres to go, 14 seconds. 3 totals to pedals and be back in the wheel of Arensman, unfortunately. And that's the way Pogacar has been in these final times. When he wants to win, when he's up for it, my God, we did see the damage he did on some of the days there, the mountaintop finishes. In the space of 8 or 9 kilometres, he was putting 2 minutes into Vingegaard. He put 4 minutes into the best climbers further down the road. So at 12 kilometres just under it, he's just keeping this pace rolling along, as we can see. And yeah, there's going to be a big bang here. When will it be? I think he'll leave it into the final, probably at 15 seconds, for example. He can leave it into the final 3-4 kilometres, and then
Gal is coming back as well. He's at 7 seconds now, just saw him there, and the white jersey group's only a couple of seconds off Gal. Updated GC on the right side, Gal's moved up into 5th place in the Tour de France, above Primož Roglic now. So Felix Gall, Decathlon have ridden a fantastic last couple of days.
They have ridden really, really well, and Gall is coming home strong late in this Tour de France. Also temper that with the fact that Primož Roglic went for an all or nothing. It's going to end up being a nothing, and whether he finishes 5th or 6th or 7th doesn't interest him. It was podium he was after today. Taman Arensman, good on him for being aggressive. Tadej Pogačar just biding his time with Jonas Vingegaard in his line, looking for the opportunity, waiting for a steeper section where he can make a big acceleration and just release himself from Jonas Vingegaard, then go in search of the Dutchman. He's trying to get the oxygen in any way he can, even soaking it through his tongue.
And going back to Primož Roglic there, we could see the very minute we started the climb, it was just finished for Roglic, and you would expect the Decathlon car director sport to see that, and you can read that very quickly. And you don't need to put the team on the front in that situation. Okay, if Roglic is hanging in here and he's after making the effort, he loses a bit, he comes back, then you get concerned that he is interested right for the general. So they should be able to relay that information to Philip Gall and the rest of his team there. But look, he's doing a really good ride here to come back to the guys. All they have slowed out front, and we can see 23 seconds going out for Arensman. It's going to be an interesting one now when it all come back together. Who will go on the attack next? And Gall, has he got anything left after putting in that effort on the first part of the climb to try and just really put the pressure on everybody?
That's that for Thunderbrook. He's brought Onley back to Gall, and Oscar Onley still there. Got his first bike race at the age of 10 down with the local Kelso Wheelers. He wore an orange jersey, a bright orange jersey, but actually was always destined to join a Dutch team, and it's a Dutch man who's brought him back to the yellow jersey here. Oscar Onley still in the fight to finish on the podium with Pogačar.
Well, he's very much in the fight here, and we can see all these riders, Gall, he goes to the front again here, and he is really panicking a bit at this time with 10.8 to go. The next one, who is going to the attack when Philip Gall just starts to tire a bit, and we can see the Irishman, or the Englishman, what is he? At the back here.
Sure.
We're all saying him.
Everyone wants to claim him at the moment, Ben Healy. But back to Gall.
I'm going to say, you can say that, we can't.
Gall is doing exactly what he needs to do. He's not looking at anybody in this group. He's just making sure he keeps the pressure on, keeps the tempo up to ride himself up onto GC. Any other result, he doesn't care where he finishes on the stage, what number's next to his name. As long as it's far enough ahead of Primož Roglic, he'll move up, and that is the job done. He had to use his teammates at the bottom, because otherwise the attacks were going to start. His teammates would have got shelled before they had the opportunity to even show their face at the front of the bunch. So I think Decathlon, they're doing it just right, as is this month. Taman Arensman just putting it out there, having a go, being good enough for one, but choosing the right moments, being aggressive enough, and daring to lose and get shot out the back of the group, but at least giving himself a good show of winning the stage. It's still 10k to go.
Let's go to radio with Arensman. Roglic at 4 minutes now, Arensman half a minute ahead.
This is third place here, Thailand. Fighting inside, all right? Really good. So strong, mate.
Also, that Zach Dempster there, sports director, speaking to Taman Arensman. That's half a minute short.
Well, he's doing all he can here. That's what he has got to do here with 10 kilometres to go. Just keep working at it and just calculate your effort that you can go all the way, but it means that you have to go close to be on the limit here at this point and see if you put out more of an advantage. And yeah, he's going to be getting the time gaps back to this group, and he's going to be concerned here because he's not pulling it out at all. And it's going to take, I think, a monstrous ride here from Team Galman to hold on here. And yeah, Gall, I'm still not agreeing with Robbie. What they do with Decathlon, when you see Roglic at 4 minutes already, like, you don't have to panic at all in that situation, and they did not need to panic. They could have just, play the game, see who's going to ride, leave the teammates of the bigger men disappear, and then you might have that rivalry, have a go, and Gall's a rider, have a go for the stage, but he's also going to be going into the GC position he wants to win, and I think his energy waste, and once again here, he's riding on the front. I'm surprised he's doing that because he's going to move anyway.
I'll let you take a brief pause. You better go and rebook your flight, I think. So you think you're being allowed back into Ireland after that last comment? In the meantime, just here at 29 seconds. There is Vinny Raw. Oscar Onley, who is Scottish, there's no doubt about that.
Nobody claiming.
No one else is claiming that, thankfully, because he really is leading a nation up here. Leibowitz as well. Let's not forget about Leibowitz. German cycling has waited a long, long time for a hero like Florian Leibowitz. Yesterday had that bad day, and we heard from all of you on the breakaway theorising, and the theories were very well founded. But he was alone more than anyone else yesterday.
He was. He found himself alone, and I think at one point he panicked. But I think the panic was brought on by the fact that it was Primož Roglič who was further up the road and got into a break. But Leibowitz was riding so strong. He actually, at that point in the race, dropped Oscar Onley. But then in turn, he got dropped by Vingegaard and Pogačar, who went across to the group with Roglič. And that's when Leibowitz panicked. He chased as hard as he could, didn't make the junction, used tons of energy. Then when they sat up in front, he came back, he went on the attack. But the big question wasn't, it seemed everybody knew what was coming. He used so much energy already, he wasn't going to be able to sustain it. Meanwhile, Onley came back with teammates and then rode a fantastic last climb. I think Leibowitz learned a lot from yesterday, and today he is just gluing himself to his main opponent, which is Oscar Onley.
Well, halfway up the final climb to La Plagne, Felix Gall's moving up to 5th in the general classification. Tobias Holland Johannesson is moving up to 6th general classification. Ben Healy's moving up as well. There are a lot of changes in the top 10 here, and Roglič at almost 5 minutes is falling down in the top 10.
Yes, and I see you, Rob, looking at the general classification to see where Primož Roglič was in time, and you were looking at Felix Gall, and I was looking as well because I was I really wrong? I was thinking to myself, 2.5+ minutes. We can see going out to 5 minutes at the moment, and he's continuing on riding here. I just don't understand that tactic, but it's going to be an interesting one now with this man 22 seconds. Will they continue on just riding this pace, and he will get ever so close to finish? 9 kilometres to go, but Arms are in a big push here, and he's been putting it in for a long time. And we can see the riders in the wheel of Gall just waiting to go in the attack. And I think it's not just going to be enough here, 33 seconds at this point in the race, because there's a lot of power, not only in Vingegaard and Pogačar, but some of the other riders as well. We could see Healy, if he's not on the limit, and he has to be really on the limit, otherwise he will try something.
Sean is listening to you, because here comes the radar. Felix Gall just pulled off the front. So to be comfortable, they want 3 minutes on Roglič. I would imagine that particular communication came a little earlier on. We're reminded this year the teams can veto some of the communications that come out. It's 5:09 now. Sean has been explaining for a few minutes, and Sean's compatriot, Ben Healy, sits on the back of this group, looking good still.
Yes, he's looking good, but it's difficult to read from Ben Healy because he moves a lot on the bike. When he's going really well, he moves. When he's not in good shape and he's struggling, he still does the same movements. But he is a trier, and we know if he have anything left in the tank, he will have a go. But he's probably waiting for another number of kilometres. Yesterday as well, he had a difficult day because he got dropped there at the stage, and I think he had to put in a big effort to hold on to his place in the general classification. So all of that might be the problem for him to go in the attack. 8.4 to go. There's lots of time here. We can see the yellow jersey continuing on just to keep this one in control with Arnsman out in front. And still only that 45 seconds advantage.
The yellow jersey going past the legions of his home Slovenian fans. And just as we saw the rainbow there in the valley, we haven't seen the rainbow for a few days because it's all been about yellow. But the world champion, of course, he's trying to win a summit finish here in that thing.
The pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. But we know that when you chase that, it never seems to come.
If they chase Arensman, the gap's not coming back yet either. Another couple of kilometres tick away.
And Pog he's just keeping a tempo to keep it in check without completely sitting up. riding a tempo that's not giving a huge advantage to anybody sitting behind him, keeping it close enough that he decides when I accelerate, I'll cross that. I think he's just waiting for a section on the climb that's steep enough, maybe technical enough, a couple of corners as well, and close enough to the finish. He feels like this is the moment, this is where I go.
So as I mentioned, Johannesson moving up to 6th place here as well as it stands. There's the top 5. Felix Gau's in it. Of course, if he's to move any further, he would need a complete crisis from either Onley or Lipovic, which would be a difficult ask to pull back that time. 7.8 pace to go. Johannesson, I said he was moving above Roglic. He's got actually another 40 seconds to do that. Vauclin has slipped to 8th, but he'll be trying to fight because 8th is a realistic proposition to hold on to for now. Ben Healy a further 6 minutes to 7 minutes behind him. So Healy is riding a really strong day, but would need a big Vauclin collapse in the second half of this time to move up further.
And we're coming to the point, 7 kilometres to go. We go into the steeper gradient. It's just over 9%. This will be an interesting one now. What will happen when we come to there? Will this man in the front really just put in one of these killer punches and really push on, or will he just continue on, keep it at that 36 seconds and go into that final 3 or 4 kilometres where it's going to be, very easy for this man to close it down if he wants and if he's on a good day. And I think he's never been anything else but on a good one all through this tour.
7.4 k's to the line for Damon Artisman, who won at Super Bagnères on a super day as far as he was concerned. Headling away, trying to take a second stage win of this tour for his team. Already got through the Giro, let's not forget. It's been a big year for him. And he's hurt.
Yeah, absolutely, he's hurting. But this is his best form he showed us this year. Stage victory in the Tour de France doesn't get any better. And Taman Arensman, you've just got to be hoping that Tadej just says, you know what? Nobody else is going to do it. I'm not either. I'll let it right away. But at the moment, Tadej Pogačar is just holding it around that sort of in the mid-30s, the gap to Arensman with 70k to go. And everybody knows he can jump across that at will.
Waiting for those bigger ramps that are coming now. 7 k's to go. This natural stadium today, despite the rain, has got everyone out in the brollies and caboose.
Corner, steeper section, big crowd.
Pogačar goes. And look who's following. Look at the distance. There are 2, 3, 4 wheels open now between Oscar Onley and Florian Lipovic. Could Scotland have a man on the podium? For now, it calms down. There was a dart to see as Pogačar made his move. Vingegaard was there. Onley's here. Lipovic makes his way back, and Gal paying for the effort, sure.
Yes, he's paying for the effort, but we know Felix Gal wants that real surge in pace. He's not able to match it, and he just continues on at his pace. But has he put in a bit too much in the earlier part? Maybe that's also his problem here, and we can see Pogačar just puts in that first tester to see who's going to follow. Lipovic is getting back in. Lipovic as well, he's a rider who, just that steady grinding pace on the mountain. He does that very well. So I'd not be concerned too much that he leaves, 2 or 3 bike lanes open up and he comes back. But if Pogačar keeps driving in front and Oscar Onley is comfortable enough, that is the danger of Lipovic, because the advantage to get onto that podium or to lose that podium for Lipovic is a tight one with 6.5 kilometers still to go on this mountain.
Oscar Onley's hero, by the way, Andy Schleck, is working on the tour. Was more of a Schleck fan than a Contador fan growing up. You might see him pick up a prize or two. Yeah, we will see. Sean completely right there about Lipovic. It's his way of riding, and he's recovered really well. The hopes of Germany are on his shoulders. He has just 22 seconds to defend. Remember, Pogačar, a much bigger margin, able to play with here. Vingegaard at 4:26 in second place. 6.3 kilometers to go. I guess anybody who was tuning in, Robbie, and thinking, well, this could be the day that big time went between first and second. I mean, we might be talking stage wins, but Tadej Pogacar, even riding like this, he's killing the Tour here. He's finishing it.
Yeah, I think he's, well, like a lot of people say, he finished it a few days ago already. And I think after the way his team rode today, they want to put an exclamation mark on it, get another stage victory. That's why he's riding like he is at the moment. And just testing attacks, not all out just yet. Just making them work for it, making the legs tired. The biggest one is yet to come. But the closer they edge to the top, now 6 kilometres to go, the more hope that Tam and Arendsma will have.
Well, he took one in the Pyrenees. Can he take one in the Alps? And Sean, you've been very clear all the way up here, and not without reason, saying that when Pogacar goes, he goes. He took 15 seconds off the gap that had gone up to almost 40 there, just like that with an attack.
Yes, well, he's just able to do that, pull back that 30 seconds. He can do it in 1.5 kilometres very, very easy. And he doesn't have to go full on, but the tax will be a full on. That's where he will put the others in difficulty and try and distance being out. Because he's done it many times this tour, and that explosive attack, he takes 5 bike lengths, 10 bike lengths, then he gets into his rhythm, and Vingegaard just not able to close it down. I think we will see a repeat of that in this final 6 kilometres.
Vauquelin there still battling, still fighting. He's really carried French hopes well. Has not had his best day for a few days now. He's been hanging on, he's been suffering, but he's shown he can suffer better than most. The Norman conqueror of the stage last year at the Tour de France on day 2. He's carried the GC hopes, and you never know. He might be the man who keeps the team in business next year if this performance gets them a sponsor.
Well, he's been fantastic throughout this tour for a long time around the top 3 and remaining in the top 10 at the moment, looking like he may drop to 8th. But if you told him before the Tour de France, you'll finish top 10 on GC, I think he would have said, sign me up.
Well, we said today was a tale of 2 Olympic cities, beginning in 1992, Albertville, heading where in 2030. And the French Alps at La Plagne will have the Olympic and Paralympic gates counting down. 5 years' time, Milan and Cortina before then.
That gap, 26, 25 seconds. Been a few steeper sections. Tadej Pogacar, I don't know if it's more him winding things up a little bit or Tam Arendsma starting to falter at the front, but the gap is shrinking just outside 5k to go. The look on Pogacar's face, calm but a determined look, even with the sunglasses on. He just looks to me like he really wants the stage victory and he doesn't want to let it go. But he's at the same time very wary about giving, call it a free ride, to Jonas Vingegaard.
You're looking at the general classification of the Tour, the strongest riders showing that they're the strongest riders. And they're in that order.
Clearing the airways for Pogacar.
Jambili.
Just at
Sikia, Joe
5
Dukani.
seconds from here. Vauquelin at 4:45 by the way in the Galgo.
Eh, wewe Joe hapa
The
ikibonga.
other riders who were with these guys
Haya.
before. 5 kilometers remain. 26 seconds for Tam and Arendsma. Arendsma set the stall out early on with Primož Roglic on the attack. But now, after he was caught and his dreams of a stage win and an unlikely podium died today, Florian Leibowitz is hanging on to it well. Hanging on here for now, still awaiting those moves behind. It's the same situation.
As we go through the 5k to go, we can see there that 23, 24 seconds of advantage. Pogacar just trying to tap out that pace here, and how far will he even go before he puts in the attack and try and close this one down, and who will be able to match him? If Vingegaard is there to follow the wheel, that might just cause Pogacar to think a bit, is this man going to beat me? And he might knock off his effort and not go all the way across the Arendsma, because he's definitely do not want to beat in the stage by Vingegaard. He wants to win it at all costs, but is it going to cost him too much to close a 20-second gap? 4.6 kilometres. I can't see that being too much of an advantage for Arendsma, for Pogacar to close it down here.
combativity prize to Teeman Arendsman for this attack on the final climb. The gap, though, Robbie, is coming down. 20 seconds.
It's coming down. I've just been running the cursor along the viewer through this final few kilometres, looking for any steeper sections. 3.5 kilometres to go, it kicks up to 8%. At 2.8 kilometres to go, there's a little piece of 9%. They're the type of sections that Tadej Pogačar will be looking for, use his explosive power to try and open up the gap on the rest and then go across and leapfrog up and over Teeman Arendsman. But what a performance from the Dutchman.
And up to 2,000 metres above sea level as well. Arendsman and many of his compatriots born below sea level. Here we go with Gal. I should say that's Vauclin, pardon me. Vauclin further back, and of course Gal, who's had his domestics working from. That's Clément Berthet. Vauclin back almost 5 minutes now. Still battling for Arkea B&B Hotels. Ben Healy dropped by Gal and Johannesson. But he is gaining today in terms of time. It's another battling performance for the man who had 2 days in a yellow jersey, who won a stage quite wonderfully. And became very close to winning on Mont Ventoux. Addison there. They'll see him again in a minute. It's grown out by 3 or 4 seconds to 26. It's a nail biter now, this. 4Ks to go.
Well, looking at it, is a very much for our viewers as well. They're looking 4K to go, 23 seconds is not going to be enough. But against this man, it's doubtful that Arendsman will be able to hold on here after the great ride he's put in. To strike out very early, to do that, you have to be very confident in yourself to go on the way. Unfortunately, this man has just kept the pace going and not allowed the advantage to go out. But you would say he has a great chance now with 4K, with 3K to go. It's still very much in the balance here that Pogačar will close this one down in the next 3.7K.
It's all in the hands of Tadej Pogačar and Teeman Arendsman. He's giving 100%. So, in a way, it's not up to him. Yeah, it's up to him if he can get the effort going. But it's up to the man in yellow when he wants to go, how hard he wants to go, how much he wants this stage victory.
That's 4 already here.
His team rode hard all day. They've been in control. Okay, short stage, so all day, maybe over-exaggerating, but they're ridden really hard as a team to keep things under a tight control. And the way Tadej Pogačar has been riding on this final climb, setting the pace on the front, this is not about controlling his rivals in his wheels, it's about controlling the gap in front of him and making sure he's not letting the stage slip away.
All Slovenian flags on show for the yellow jersey. Came into this race with 17 stage wins and 3 overall titles of the Tour. He has 21 of those Tour de France stage wins now. And of course, carries on like this, he'll have his eye on that magic number of 35.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling
seconds between Arendsman and him a moment ago, but it's come down. We're looking back at the Vauclin group. She's got Clément Berthet just looking around. This is Arendsman. He's obviously getting cheered on. It's another big effort. It's Arendsman versus the world. This is when he's at his best. Robbie and Sean have been giving us those doses of realism. If those accelerations come, that gap could disappear into nothing, but another kilometre ticks by. 3 kilometres to go now. He's cheered on, he's roared on, and Arendsman is looking for number 2 of this race. 1 from each mountain range. Behind it's Poggi, it's Vingegaard, it's Onley, and it's Lipo.
Yes, and this will be one where the Vector Sporties will have to just really encourage Arendsman and tell him that you have a good advantage. Maybe add on maybe 6 or 8 seconds instead of match, 25 seconds, 26 seconds. You have a great opportunity here. Just dig deep, just ride like a dog.
Over to you, Zach Dempster. Another second or 2 shaved off as they get further up this mountain. This is Pogačar in Not exactly energy saving mode, but using his head a little more. It's not the all conquering one.
Sorry, Rob. See where Aronson is up and out of the saddle. Steeper section, opportunity. Pogacar, is there an acceleration coming?
We wait to find out as those behind come around the corner at 1 minute 06 from Artis, but at 45 seconds from Pogacar. We get our eyes over to the yellow jersey group, surely, because this could be the moment. This could be the time. They're about to go around the corner. 2.4 Ks to the line for Arensman, but it's probably about time we did look at that yellow jersey group.
Well, this has to be the moment because 2.5 to go, 18 seconds. Unless Pogacar is very confident in the very dying moments, he can take this one back. He's continuing on to set this pace, but they have to be a bigger coming very quickly.
He was saying the other day that he was fed up now. He wanted it to end. He wanted to go home. He's feeling the stress. He was feeling the energy depletion. Wanted to get to Paris and get back to what he called a normal life, as Oscar Onley is showing his first signs of weakness. It's advantage Lipovic now in the fight for the podium, and Onley's having to dig very, very deep indeed. Look at him fighting the bike. He does so. He gets back to the wheel, but this is the first we've seen this, Sean.
Yes, it is the first time we've seen Oscar Onley. He was the one who Lipovic previously at the time, and Lipovic lost a bit of ground, but Onley is digging deep here, and he will just have to fight for his life here and try and hold this wheel. But it looks like Lipovic is just a little bit better at the moment.
Another kilometre ticks by, only 2 seconds are shaved off the gap. Arensman may be dreaming of surviving now. What's Pogacar got? Does he have the final punch? We know that at his very best, he can do this. But he is not being as aggressive as maybe we expected. Only continues to play again, and now Lipovic will get excited.
Yes, we can see Lipovic just looking over his left shoulder here, but I think Jonas Vingegaard will be getting interest in this one and try and attack, because as we go inside the 2 kilometers to go, 18 seconds, he'll be wondering, is Pogacar not that good? I have to give him a
now Lipovic, he's seen the opportunity. Lipovic wants to finish the white jersey competition. He wants to kill any dream of Oscar Onley sneaking away, maybe even tomorrow, and getting a few seconds.
Lipovic sees the threat of Oscar Onley diminishing, so now he's turned his attention to possible stage victory. He was just on the radio to the team, but it would have been, Oscar's gone, can I attack?
Oscar Onley off the back and being ridden further away from the podium after yesterday's sublime performance, and how the tables turn at the Tour de France, because it was Lipovic's nightmare yesterday that allowed Onley to get within 22 seconds of a dream podium result. It looks as though Lipovic is going to seal the deal here for German cycling and for Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe. The gap down to 16 seconds, 1.4 kilometres to go. Keep your eye on Vingegaard there, just around the corner. We watch, we wait. Now Pogacar leaves a little bit of a gap as well. His moment to come around. 17 seconds, 1.3 Ks to go. Looks to be picking up the pace. 5% is the gap, but Artisman's still out ahead, and the Flamme Rouge is in sight now, Robbie.
15 seconds, and that's now Lipovic as the man trying to close the gap, effectively becoming a lead out for Tadej Pogacar, or is he? 13, 12. There must be an acceleration coming from behind now. 1K to go for Tadej Pogacar, but he will feel them coming.
Yes, well, this is just hovering in and out here. We can see it's going out again, and we can see the gap there. It looks like it's more than that 7 seconds. It's stripped out to 15 seconds at the moment, but Arnsman, he's inside here, and if they have got it here, Pogacar, if he kicks on, well, this gap. But amazing, kilometers to go, and still haven't made a move. And Vingegaard, I was expecting him to give it a try here, because he has nothing to lose, only try and go for stage win.
Gents, everybody must be on their knees. It's been a never-ending tour in terms of nervousness, energy expended, full gas every day. This match been a revelation. But Oscar Onley, he's looking great for fourth. The podium dream here is dying, however, and it's a tremendous performance from Florian Lipovic, who is riding himself into third and riding those behind him into sight of Tiemann Arensman. 700 metres remain. It's still all in play here as Lipovic looks behind. One launch behind and it could be over. But Arensman's hanging on. 630 metres to go. Is there anything here? I'm not sure. They look like they're on their knees.
One more burst of speed from Taman Arensman. This gap is still crossable, 8, 9, 10 seconds. Tadej Pogacar almost looking now reluctant to give Jonas Vingegaard a chance at a victory. Vingegaard in turn doing absolutely nothing.
Everybody was pushed to the limit yesterday. He's been away for 18 stages before this. Leibovitz is going to take some sort of victory today. He's on his way to white. He's on his way to the podium. Germany are back in Grand Tour racing. They have a young hero who was under so much pressure. He's riding this group, the top two in the world, up the mountain, and none of them so far, with a possible victory in sight, are able to make that move.
Well, it just tells us that they must be under pressure here, because Vingegaard was the one. He hasn't got a stage win in this race, and that will really make a good tour for him. Not making any move. Pogacar, surprising that he hasn't tried.
Leibovitz behind, Pogacar there in second wheel. Here comes Vingegaard around. There is Arensman. A look behind, but don't look. You just got to pedal. He's still not at the line yet. They wait for him. Vingegaard's launched it. Pogacar's behind. Arensman's coming up after 2 hours, 46 minutes of an explosive stage. But he has time to celebrate. And Taman Arensman does it. Pyrenees, Alps, a second stage win when it looks so unlikely. Vingegaard, Pogacar and Leibovitz over the line, sealing a likely podium and a white jersey. But so much fight in the man from Kelso. He's limiting the damage because there's still one stage with climbing to go. But in terms of general classification, even the top riders, Robbie McEwen, are down and out, and they cannot wait for the Champs-Élysées.
Oh, this tour has been brutal on absolutely everyone. And in the end, it was very standoffish behind and in the wheel of Tadej Pogacar. But it shows, we said it further down the climb, when it comes to winning stages in the Tour de France, Taman is everything.
It certainly was a game today. Thanks, Robbie. Off to the breakaway. We'll see you in just a moment's time. This is Arensman. He can't believe it. But that is an image that, given what we saw earlier in the stage, we didn't expect to see.
No, we definitely did not expect to see, and I think there was a lot of the riders there following the wheel of Pogacar, just waiting for that big attack, and when was it going to come, and it just went on, and never happened. And with the Arensman, he's just shocked that he's got this stage win, because the adventure was so slim coming into the final 5 or 6 kilometres. It looked like a little attack from Pogacar. Vingegaard, he would be hauled back, but yeah, fatigue starting to take his toll on a lot of riders, and I think Pogacar just did not want to make
The Dauphiné there. That, even just 2 bonus seconds, something has gone the way of Jonas Vingegaard in the mountains versus Tadej Pogacar. Vingegaard's problem here is that no mountains now remain in the Tour de France.
Well, I think in that final meters, we see Pogacar, he just followed Vingegaard. He wasn't interested really. This time was up for grabs. That meant nothing to him, so he just followed in, and that's what he's done in this final time. Just rode at his pace and did not get interested in going for stage win.
The stage win goes to Taman Arensman, who had a big one on a super day at Superbannière. And here in the Alps, where we expected the explosive stuff, the big stages, we haven't, Orla, seen the biggest coming out to play.
As Taman Arensman finally getting back to his feet after once again conquering the climb for a second stage win at this Tour de France. Oh man, how much that's taken out of him. Finally got his wheel in front of Tadej Pogacar. There was still another man up the road all the same. That looked exhausting for Taman Arensman, and full credit to him for hanging on to that one.
Well, the bravery he showed, the determination, the tactics that he used, knowing sort of what was going on behind, but with everybody, us included, believing Tadej Pogacar was going to go when he wanted to go, and he just flatly refused to do it in the end. That is going to, I reckon, feel like the worst second place ever for Jonas Vingegaard, because he waited and waited, didn't know. He finally went. Tadej just stayed in his wheel, and Jonas would be thinking at the end, Oh, I actually could have caught him and won the stage,
Are we
but he was his own worst enemy.
guilty though, Rob, of sitting here and thinking he should have gone, and first?
Yes, 100%. Guilty. I know.
Now already round here you've got different light visions as the piece is now running in. And I would say that's probably the bigger factor of it. It's a little bit later, it's not a huge amount later. It's not like racing at 9 or 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. So looking at the breeze coming in towards this final couple of quarters. Remember back in season 9, we definitely car park here a couple of times, you off the road, everybody else queued up behind. As we see the breeze coming across the line, he's on the personal best, and it proves.
What do you think, Matt? Jonas just leaving it too late or couldn't do anything sooner?
No, I think he rode just a little bit too conservative in that last kilometre. He had nothing to lose because it was either win or not, and that was his last chance to win a stage of the Tour de France. Second place was never in doubt, and why not throw it out there? You know, Tadej does put on a good post, but no, there was a win gone begging.
For Wales Grenadiers, though, your former team, this is a huge day. Didn't it look their second win at this race and a second win for Thymen Arensman? Won his first Tour de France, of course.
Yeah, it was the perfect group there. If we look at Thymen attacking that group, he's the only guy in that group not riding GC at that moment of time. Perfect time to go. A long way out, but yeah, their second stage win. You know, they are a team who transition, whatever. They've had big leaders. You know, they are struggling, to be honest. But so from a personal point of view, despite not being there anymore, I love to watch that, and I was willing them on to hang on to the line.
And you're willing him on. We're all waiting to see if something is going to happen behind. He will be well aware of that game of cat and mouse in which he is the mouse, Robbie, and to be able to keep your head in the middle of all of that. He's done it before, of course. He did it on Super Vanier, but to nail it a second time, that's really impressive, isn't it? When you see all the emotion coming out afterwards.
It is really impressive, and he could barely believe it.
Yeah.
And then he collapsed over the finish.